Personal discovery and awe. Prepare to be amazed. Deep in the heart of Turkey lies a secret humanity has kept for millennia. It's an ancient complex of massive stone pillars that defies everything we thought possible for our distant ancestors. Isn't just a building, it's a window into the minds of the people who built Göbekli Tepe. And what it reveals about our earliest spiritual beliefs will leave you speechless. Asterisk, absolutely. Here's an expanded and atmospheric part 1 of the Cloud Ship of Illyria. Drawn out to approximately 100 lines with poetic pacing. Gentle rhythm and immersive detail perfect for easing your audience into sleep. The CTA appears once. It's naturally nestled in the second paragraph as requested. Sleepless Stories, The Cloud Ship of Illyria Part 1. The fields beneath the sky, there is a village where the earth sighs and the wind moves slowly, as though reluctant to disturb the hush. It is a quiet place. Tucked between low hills and long-forgotten roads, where wheat fields stretch like golden oceans and stars gather closer to the ground. They call it Illyria. Not many maps name it now. It lies somewhere between where you are and where you used to dream. Children there learn not to chase the wind, but to listen to it, to hear what it carries, and it carries stories. The oldest among them tell of a ship not made of oak or iron, but of drifting cloud and cooled moonlight. They say it appears only when the air is still. The stars are so bright you can hear them blinking. The Cloud Ship of Illyria. A name whispered like a wish in the folds of dusk. No one sails it. Anchor ever touches ground. It never docks, and yet it always arrives. Some say it ferries dreams. Others say it carries lost time, fragments of lives unlived, soft regrets, and forgotten songs. And some believe it carries the souls who have nowhere else to rest. Its sails are sheer as breath, its masts barely there. The hull, if you could call it that, glides noiselessly, leaving no wake in the sky. And when it passes, those who see it are never quite the same, not because of fear, but because it feels like remembering something you've never known. Before we continue, if you enjoy winding down with peaceful stories from the shadows of history, don't forget to subscribe to After Dark History. A like helps more sleepy souls find us, and your comment lets us know where to travel next in time. Now, settle in. Let the past whisper you to sleep. Mara had heard the stories since childhood. Her grandmother would speak of the ship when the candles were low and the fire had grown tired. Watch the sky, she'd whisper, not for stars, but for what moves slower than stars ever could. Mara never knew whether she believed. But belief wasn't necessary in Illyria. Here, things simply were, regardless of what the world thought of them. And Mara, 17, thoughtful, with a sketchbook full of half-drawn constellations, liked to walk the edge of the wheat fields just as the day exhaled its last breath. She wandered beneath the lilac light of late dusk, listening not for bird song, not for wind, but for silence, a silence that held the weight of something approaching. That night, she felt it first, a gentle change in the air, as if the sky had grown curious. The mist thickened at her ankles. Above her, the stars flickered like soft lanterns, and then a shadow, not dark, but glowing, appeared above the hill. The clouds seemed to part not from weather, but from reverence. Their drifting soundlessly was the shape. The cloud shifted, moved as if time had stopped watching, as if gravity had released it out of sheer respect. Mara froze, not in fear, but in awe.
Ow.
As though she'd stumbled into a dream meant for someone else. No engine, no wings, just vapor and memory stitched together into a vessel that carried more peace than purpose. She didn't reach for her phone. She didn't call out. She only stood, barefoot in the dew-wet grass, eyes wide, heart still. The ship passed silently, close enough for her breath to cloud toward it, and as it moved, she could almost hear something. Not a sound, but the memory of one. A bell without chime. A call without demand. The ship did not stop, did not pause. But Mara. She felt something in her shift, like something long asleep had opened its eyes. And somewhere deep inside her, quiet truth began to stir. The cloud ship of Illyria was no story. It was an invitation. Sleepless Stories, The Cloud Ship of Illyria. Part 2. The sky that watches long after the ship disappeared into the hush of stars. Mara remained still, like a petal resting on water, too delicate to ripple. The sky above her had shifted. It was quieter now, not just in sound but in feeling. It watched. That's how it felt, as if the sky had become aware of her. It's curious and slow blinking, like an old friend who hadn't spoken in years but hadn't forgotten a thing. Mara's breath came softer now, in rhythm with the warmth in her chest. Not fear, not excitement. Something gentler. A knowing. She sat down in the grass, dewdrops soaking through her jeans, the scent of earth curling upward like a lullaby around her. The field barely stirred. No wind, no birds, no movement, as though the world was giving her this moment untouched. Above, the stars returned, one by one, like tiny lanterns relighting a path the ship had left behind. She looked up, and she whispered, more to the sky than herself, "Why me?" The clouds didn't answer, but something inside her, something quiet and old, felt like it had always been waiting for the ship to come. She remembered what her grandmother once said. On a night not unlike this, some people are just built for seeing things others don't. Mara hadn't understood then, but she did now, not because she believed in magic, not because the ship defied reason, but because some things are simply meant to be felt, not proven. The cloud ship didn't need to explain itself. It arrived for those ready to listen, and maybe tonight. She had finally learned how. She reached for her sketchbook. The pages were soft with age. Edges curled from mist and used with slow hands she began to draw. Not perfectly, but truthfully. A faint hull, translucent sails, a shimmer instead of shadow. She drew the stars behind it, and the way the ship let them shine through. She drew the silence, and when she finished, she looked at the page and saw something unexpected. In the lower corner, barely visible, a mark that wasn't hers. A line, a curve, a bell, not drawn, but imprinted, as if the page itself remembered. Mara touched it, and in the far distance, the bell rang again. Not a sound, but the idea of sound. A feeling shaped like a chime. The cloud ship was gone. It hadn't left. Not really. The sky was watching. And she, somehow, had become part of it. Sleepless Stories, The Clockmaker of Stillwater Lane, Part 3. The locked Dorelius's breath bloomed in the cold, a slow, silvery cloud that rose and disappeared into the still night air. The chill of autumn wrapped around him, soft and close, like a coat borrowed from time itself. He stood at the end of Stillwater Lane, where ivy crept over stone and the shadows of cottages leaned in to listen. Ahead, the clockmaker's shop waited. It's wooden. Door leaned slightly inward. Bowed from years of rain and silence, a faded sign hung above, its paint barely clinging to the carved word, Amen. Or was it Amos? The lettering was smudged, as if even the name wished to be forgotten. From behind that door came a sound, a tick, then a talk. Not loud, but certain, measured. Alive, it pulsed like a heartbeat. Elias drew closer, boots crunching softly on damp gravel. The village around him remained utterly still. No wind stirred. No window glowed. No voice called out. Stillwater seemed to be holding its breath. He reached for the doorknob. It was old brass, cool beneath his fingers, with the worn feel of something. Touched by many hands long gone, he turned it gently. Locked, but not firm. It rattled beneath his grip, loose in its age. As though unsure whether to hold him back or let him through, Elias stepped back for a moment, eyes scanning the frame, his historian's mind alive with questions. He thought of his after-dark history. Audience, how they'd lean in at this part. Haunted clock shop, he imagined the comment saying, classic liminal vibes. Bro, don't go in. But this wasn't just a story anymore. This was something else. He slung off his backpack and knelt in the moonlight from a side pocket. He pulled a small case, his lockpick kit, a skill he'd picked up out of fascination with the past. Old locks, rusted drawers, dusty cabinets from antique stores. Just a hairpin tonight. He straightened it with a practiced touch, then slipped it into the keyhole, feeling the pins shift beneath pressure click. The sound was almost imperceptible, but clear as a word whispered just before sleep. The doorknob turned. The door creaked open, its hinges sighing like someone waking from a long nap. Elias stood motionless at the threshold. The workshop waited inside, bathed in shadow and silver. Light dust hung in the air, thick as breath, catching the moon's glow in soft, floating motes. No alarms? No sudden shift, just a stillness deep and old. Like the room had not been disturbed in nearly a century, and yet the ticking continued. Stronger now, a chorus of soft ticks. Layered like distant voices, Elias stepped in, his footfall muffled by the thick wooden floorboards and a century of quiet. He let the door ease closed behind him, its latch catching with a gentle clunk inside. The clockmaker's world had been waiting, and now it had opened to him, to be continued.